Hola a todos y bienvenidos. Welcome. Bonjour à tous et bienvenue. Willkommen zu Coffee Break German e benvenuti a tutti a Coffee Break Italian. We are here today and hopefully everything is working as planned. I hope I've got everything I need here. It is great to be live for this first live in a little while. And over the course of the next hour or so, hour and a half perhaps, we are going to be taking a look at the Coffee Break Club. The Coffee Break Club is our on-demand video library of lessons for language learners in French, Italian, German, and Spanish. Now, the chances are, if you're joining us here, you have had an invitation by email to join us here because we've been sharing some video lessons from the Coffee Break Club over the past week, and it's been a bit of an open week on the Coffee Break Club, allowing lots of learners to try it out and get a feel for what it's like doing just one little bit of learning every day. Hopefully you've enjoyed doing that. Hopefully you've managed to keep up your streak for the day, and hopefully you're interested in finding out more about the club. Let me know where you're watching from. If you would like to post in the chat, I can see that. If you have any questions at all at any point, I can also see these if you post them in the chat. And the team is keeping everything going backstage so that we are all good to go. And I think we are. Let me just double check a couple of things. First of all, yes, I have my slides here just to double check that they're the right ones. When we're doing it live, it's always a little bit... Now, why can't I see that? Give me one sec. Yeah, that's the right slide, so we're all good. And I've got some videos lined up. I should also put a little ticker on the bottom. There we go. So it is 5:05 here in the UK. And the plan is to focus on different languages over the course of this event. So roughly at about 5:15, so in 10 minutes time, we are going to be focusing specifically on French with some French examples from the Coffee Break Club. Then at 5:30 for German, 5:45 Italian, 6 o'clock Spanish, and then I'll be happy to answer any of your questions at 6:15 onwards. I'll leave this ticker on the screen so that you can see what's going on and what the plan is over the course of the next few minutes and perhaps few hours. But do stick around or come back at the appropriate time. I know obviously it's 5 o'clock in the UK, it's 9 o'clock Pacific. Whatever time zone you're in, you'll be able to follow based on the times below. Also, if you're watching this as a replay after the event, first of all, you're very welcome. It's great to have you here. And we'll also add some specific links in the description of the video after the event so that you can jump straight to the samples for the language that you're working on. It's great to see some of you saying hello. We've got, excuse me, we've got Jennifer. Let me see if I can bring this on screen. Yes, I can bring this on screen. Great. So hi, Jennifer. Good to have you in Bear Valley, California. First thing in the morning for you. I hope you've got a good sunny Sunday looking ahead of you. Dave is joining us in Nevada. Jane is from England. We've got Spirit First Yoga joining us from Annapolis. Who else do we have? We've got Tanya in Brazil. And NJ not watching, listening from a milking parlour in Ireland. Oh, fantastic. It's great to have you all here. We're delighted to be joined by you today. So we are talking today about the Coffee Break Club. Let me share some information about the club. In fact, let me just take this comment off the screen. There we go. So the club, first of all, that's our timings. We've already gone through these, and these are down in the bottom of the screen for you to keep an eye on as we're working through it. The club was built for this situation. When you don't have time to attend a traditional class and an hour-long session with an online tutor is daunting. This is some of the things that our learners have said to us, and this is what inspired us to come up with the club. Also, things like, I need something that will help me be consistent, something I can actually achieve on a daily basis, but I want more than Duolingo. And another example of something that someone said, I can probably find what I need on YouTube, but by the time I've found something useful, I've gone off the notion or perhaps become distracted. Yes, we can always be easily distracted by all of the content on YouTube or other sources of content. But what we wanted to do is build a resource that helped you make those simple decisions every day to do a little bit of learning. And that's, as I say, exactly what the club is. So, the Coffee Break Club is an on-demand video library of quick, engaging lessons led by real human teachers and helping you make making consistent language learning simple and stress-free. And as I say, helping you make those simple little decisions every day to do a little bit of learning every time you switch on your computer, lift up your phone, lift up your iPad, whatever it happens to be. So it's over 1,700 short lessons at different levels. The lessons are A2, B1, some B2 level lessons. And it's basically language learning one coffee break at a time, as we've been doing for almost 19 years now. But the club is taking this further because it really makes it handy for you to just switch on and learn. And we're going to be seeing some examples of that kind of learning today as we look at some of the materials that we've got to share with you. Let me just check one other thing. I'm just going to cough. Sorry about that. Let me check that we can see my iPad here. Yes, we have got my iPad here. So we've got that. And we've also got the club on the iPad. That's all good. I think everything is good. So let's continue on and let's talk a little more about the Coffee Break Club. Again, if you have any questions, then do let me know in the comments. I can see these and we can put the comments on the screen and answer your questions as you post them. We love hearing from our learners, and we recently did a survey of all of our club members. We wanted to find out more about how they're using the club, and this is one of the many comments we received. Stephanie says, "This is the only technique I've ever used that I've been consistent with. Your program has given me confidence that I'm going to take my international exam this year regardless. I have stopped obsessing and I'm just being, so thank you from the depths of my heart and my soul." So Stephanie is very pleased with the Coffee Break Club content. It is really straightforward to use. We have different ways of accessing it. I'll tell you a little bit them just now. And it really is an opportunity to use Coffee Break content in a completely new way. With 4 languages, French, Italian, German, and Spanish, with 20 tutors, and with over 1,700 video lessons. We have expert teachers, fun challenges, grammar focus, and then let me just take the ticker away just now. You can test yourself with interactive quizzes. There are interesting videos which help you learn about the world, and you can learn on the go wherever you are. The club can be accessed on any computer, any device, through a web browser. So you can easily access it on your laptop, your desktop, or indeed on a phone or a tablet. We also have an app that you can use on your phone for iOS or Android, and also a tablet version of that, so for iPads or other tablets. And there is even a Coffee Break TV app for Apple TV. So if you like sitting back and enjoying watching things on your TV in your living room, then you can do so and watch Coffee Break content on our Apple TV app. So really versatile, very easy to access, and it helps you learn in those little bits of the day that you have to spend learning. So whether it's waiting at a bus stop, ready to get your bus to work or to the shops or wherever you're going, you can take a quick 5-minute lesson from the club. As I said, we're going to move on in just a moment to focusing on French for the next 10, 15 minutes or so. Again, at any point, please do ask a question in the chat. I can answer your questions at any point. But what we'll do is look at a couple of the French videos from the Coffee Break Club so that gives you an idea of the type of learning that you can do. We actually have lots of different types of videos, different series within the club, and you can see, you get a feel for them here. So there's everything from reading challenges to guess the location videos. So again, a type of reading and listening, but an opportunity to try to play a little game, work out where the sender of a postcard is. We have our SIP videos. These are study, investigation, practice. So we do a little studying of a grammar point, investigate it further, and then we practice it together. We have a coffee break with various members of the team. We have Coffee Break au Soleil, where we are learning grammatical or verbal constructions, hopefully normally with a bit of sunshine. We have our translation challenges, very, very popular translation challenges. We have dictations. We have our discovery videos, and these are discovery, basically we learn about somewhere in the world. We have vocabulary videos that are walk, talk and learn videos where we walk around the town, we talk about the language we see around us, and we all learn something together. And two is types of videos which aren't listed on here, and these have been recently added, are our Verb Lab videos, where we're focusing on different verbs, in one verb in each video, and we learn that in multiple tenses. And also our step-by-step videos, which are an opportunity to get out and about and do some listening while you're walking, or indeed while you're milking the cows, like one of our viewers is, or one of our listeners is today. So lots of opportunities to do some learning. Again, 5, 10, 15 minutes, depending on what time you have available. And we're actually going to do some learning just now. I think what we'll do is look at one of our Walk, Talk and Learn videos, because this gives us a chance to take learning out and about. We often think about the words and phrases that we're reading in a lesson or listening to in a podcast, but sometimes one of the best ways to learn is to look around you if you've got the opportunity to travel to a country where the language that you're learning is spoken. And that's exactly what we do in Walk, Talk and Learn. We look around us, we film the interesting expressions on posters, signs, adverts, and so on. And then we come back to the studio to discuss all that with our coffee break tutors. So let's take a look at one of our Walk, Talk and Learn videos now. And I hope you enjoy this. We'll be back after this with more. Actually, let me just take the ticker off. There we go. And we'll come back here and we'll watch this video together. And then we'll talk a little more about the club. Bonjour et bienvenue à notre épisode de Walk, Talk and Learn. This is where we walk around the town, we talk about the language we see, and we all learn something together. Now, today I have noticed a sign that's on a glass recycling bin, and it says, J'aime ma ville, je la respecte. Je répète, j'aime ma ville, je la respecte. Now, this is interesting because it's using what's called a direct object pronoun. That word la we know as the definite article for a feminine noun, but it's also a direct object pronoun, meaning it or her in some cases. Here it's used to save us repeating ma ville. We could say j'aime ma ville, je respecte ma ville, but that's a little bit clumsy, it's a little bit too long, it doesn't need to be as complicated as that. We can use the word la to mean it. I love my town, I respect it. Let's go back to the studio to find out more about direct object pronouns. Allez, retour au studio.
Salut Marc, et merci beaucoup pour cet exemple. Yeah, because it's a great example as it's allowing us to review the use of the direct object pronouns. And here we've got in our example, j'aime ma ville, je la respecte. I like my town, I respect it. And it's interesting to see that in English we say respect it. So the pronoun is after the verb, whereas in French here you can see in the sentence, it's before the verb. And it's la because it's the feminine direct object pronoun and it refers to ma ville that has been mentioned at the start of the sentence. So it's got to be a feminine pronoun to match the feminine word. J'aime ma ville, je la respecte. Super. Now, what would happen if the noun was actually masculine? Then you would have to use a masculine direct object pronoun, and that would be le. So I'm going to give you an example, and I'm going to put that into context because I love buying hats. So j'ai acheté ce chapeau car je veux le porter demain soir au restaurant. So I bought this hat because I want to wear it tomorrow night at the restaurant. Je veux le porter. And you can see here that je veux, I want to. Then you've got the direct object pronoun in its masculine form, le, and it's before the infinitive. Je veux le porter demain soir au restaurant. So we've got la, and then we've got le. And the position is very interesting. Now you may have come across L apostrophe. And that would be used before a word which starts with a vowel or a silent H. And regardless whether it's le or la, whether it's the masculine or the feminine direct object pronoun, if it's before a word that starts with a vowel or a silent H, it becomes L apostrophe. So if you wanted to say that you want to buy something, je voudrais acheter ce chapeau, to stick to hats, since I love hats, je voudrais l'acheter. Should be je voudrais le acheter, but le becomes L apostrophe. Okay, and it's the same for la. It becomes L apostrophe as well. Now what happens when we have the plural pronoun? Les, L-E-S, les. So if I wanted to say I'd like to call them, I would say je voudrais les appeler. Je voudrais les appeler. So again, I would like, then we've got the pronoun, then we've got the infinitive. I would like them to call. Je voudrais les appeler. I'd like to call them. Voilà. Merci beaucoup. Back to you, Mark. Au revoir.
Merci Pierre-Benoit. There you have it. So now you know more about direct object pronouns and how to use them. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Walk, Talk and Learn. We'll be back again soon with more. For now, merci beaucoup et à la prochaine. Salut! So there we have an example of a Walk, Talk and Learn video, one of the many types of videos, one of the many series we have on the Coffee Break Club. And the idea is that at any point you've got access to this entire library of literally hundreds of videos per language, and you can work your way through the different videos, ticking off the ones that you've watched. And of course, you can also maintain your streak. I know that many of our club members enjoy following their progress and keeping a streak. Let's take a look at what the club actually looks like now. If I go here, I think you should be able to see it. So this is us on the club when we come to the content, and we can see here our French videos and go to see all. And so there we have a complete collection of our French videos, and you can see they keep going. We can still scroll through them, and there are lots and lots of lessons. So you can see the lessons are in different styles. We've got the pas à pas, we've got our Au Soleil lessons, we've got our Verb Lab, we've got our reading challenges, our translation challenges, more Walk, Talk and Learn. Lots of different types of video. And if we wanted to find out a particular video, let's say we wanted to practice the imperfect tense, we can search the videos and we can simply add an imperfect here. And you can see some of the videos that we've got on the imperfect tense with explanations and practice of that. We can also use the filters. So for example, if we wanted to look at the upper beginner videos, A1, A2, click on this and these will be filtered out so that we're focusing just on that level. Sorry, those won't be filtered out, they will be filtered in. We'll be focusing on that level of videos. So it's really straightforward to use. And as I said, we have our iPad and mobile app as well that we can use. So here is the iPad app, very similar scenario. We can do exactly everything in the iPad app that we would do in on the website. And the other thing that's worth mentioning about the iPad app is that we can also download, and when I'm saying iPad app, I'm talking about iOS, I'm talking about Android, any of our apps for your device. You can download the videos to your device and store them on your device within the app. And that means you can plan your learning if you're going on a train journey or a flight or something like that. And you can take your learning with you and do your practice as you go. So we are going to take a look at another French video now. Before we do, just mention a couple of other things. Here we go. We've got a summary of the club here, an on-demand video library where you can access exclusive video lessons perfect for your level. You learn on your terms, you can practice where and when you want with a lesson that suits your mood. You can keep your streak, you can stay consistent and track your progress over time, and also connect with fellow learners and gain support from our expert tutors by commenting on the videos and getting some responses from both fellow learners and your tutors. As I said, we're going to look at another video now, another French video. We will be starting to look at I think German's next in about 5 minutes. So if you're a German learner, stick around. We've got some German samples there. And of course, I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Just post them in the chat and I'll do my best to answer any questions. For now, let's look at another example. And this is one of our coffee break with. So a coffee break with Max here. Let's see what Max has got to share with us in just a few minutes. Let's see if we can learn something here.
Bonjour, welcome back to Coffee Break French Club. Moi, c'est Max et je suis très heureux d'être avec vous pour une petite vidéo. Aujourd'hui, nous allons parler du mot coup, C-O-U-P, coup. It's a very versatile French word. C'est un petit mot avec de nombreuses utilisations et significations. By the end of this video, you'll know how to use coup in different contexts. Et j'ai également préparé un petit défi de traduction pour vous. I also have a little translation challenge pour vous. Alors, c'est parti. Alors, let's start with some common phrases that use the word coup. First one, un coup de foudre. Un coup de foudre. Literally, this means a strike of lightning, but it actually means love at first sight. Par exemple, quand je l'ai vue, c'était le coup de foudre. When I saw her, it was love at first sight. Un coup de foudre. On continue. Un coup de main. Un coup de main. And this means a helping hand. Un exemple, j'ai besoin d'un coup de main pour déplacer ce meuble. That would translate to, I need a helping hand to move this furniture. Un coup de main. Ok, un coup de foudre, un coup de main. On continue avec une troisième expression. Un coup de cœur. Un coup de cœur. And this means that something is your favorite or something you have a passion for. Un exemple, ce livre est mon coup de cœur du mois. This book is my favorite of the month. Un coup de cœur. Parfait, très bien. Un petit dernier, one more. Un coup de téléphone ou un coup de fil. Both un coup de téléphone and un coup de fil have the same meaning. And they mean a phone call. Par exemple, je te donne un coup de téléphone ce soir. Or je te donne un coup de fil ce soir. And that translates to, I'll give you a call tonight. So, as you can see, coup peut être utilisé dans de nombreux contextes différents. Now, let's see if you understood everything with a little translation challenge. Un petit défi de traduction. I'm going to give you a sentence in English et je veux que vous la traduisiez en français en utilisant le mot coup, bien sûr. Première phrase. Can you give me a helping hand? Can you give me a helping hand? En français, pouvez-vous me donner un coup de main? Pouvez-vous me donner un coup de main? Here, of course, we have no context, so you could be the more casual, informal you. Peux-tu me donner un coup de main? Peux-tu me donner un coup de main? Of course, it's a question, so there's other ways to ask. You could ask, est-ce que vous pouvez me donner un coup de main? Or, est-ce que tu peux me donner un coup de main? Or, simply a statement and raise your voice at the end. Vous pouvez me donner un coup de main? Tu peux me donner un coup de main? And all six mean, can you give me a helping hand? Parfait. Deuxième phrase. It was love at first sight. It was love at first sight. En français, c'était le coup de foudre. C'était le coup de foudre. Super. Troisième phrase. He will give you a phone call tomorrow. He will give you a phone call tomorrow. La traduction en français, il te donnera un coup de téléphone demain. Or, of course, il te donnera un coup de fil demain. Un dernier petit défi, one last challenge. This movie is my favorite. This movie is my favorite. A good way to say this using coup is ce film est mon coup de cœur. Ce film est mon coup de cœur. Bravo, you've done a fantastic job. Voilà. As you can see, coup est un mot très polyvalent en français. It can be used to describe many things from love at first sight to a phone call and many, many more. Continuez à utiliser ces expressions. Moi, je vous remercie et je vous dis à bientôt. Et en attendant la prochaine vidéo, happy coffee breaking!
Merci, Max. Thank you to Max. And thank you to all of you who are currently watching this. We've got a question from Spirit First Yoga. You are asking, can we download or access the club from all our devices on your Android phone and your iPad and your PC? Yes, you absolutely can. You have one account, you log into that account on all your devices, and you can access all the materials wherever it suits you best. And you can, for example, start watching a video on your iPad, and then if you're out and about on a train, you can get your phone out and continue watching the video. So it is all very straightforward. And again, as I said earlier, if you're watching within the app on your Android phone or your iOS phone or your tablet, you can download videos into the app and store them on the app. And that way you can plan your learning for the next time, for wherever you're going. So I hope that answers your question. Let's take a look quickly at another comment from one of our members. Heidi says, a little bit of learning each day really does help me improve and build on my skills. And the streaks keep me motivated. It's a habit I won't be kicking. We love that. We love to know that people are enjoying it and using it effectively. Okay, pricing wise, we have two options. One is our monthly option, and those are the usual prices. You can pay in US dollars, Canadian dollars, euros, pounds, or Australian dollars. But this weekend and until Tuesday, I believe, we have got a special deal, and that is where we can take 15% off the monthly rate. So that brings the monthly rate down to those figures there. I'll not go through them all on the screen. So that's one option, the monthly option. However, we also have an annual option, a yearly option, where you get 2 months free. So the total cost for the year normally would be $249.99 US dollars, 342 Canadian, 214 euros, 185 pounds, or 381 Australian dollars. But not only do you get 2 months free, but this week we are taking 25% off the yearly cost. So that takes those figures down hugely to just $187, 256 Canadian, 160 euros, 138 pounds, or 285 Australian dollars. So really great time to sign up to the club. And actually, if you do the maths, then basically what that amounts to is roughly 50 cents US cents or 38 pence per day if you go for the yearly option. And what can you get for 38 pence? You can't get anything for 38 pence. So it's definitely worth considering if you are interested in taking your language skills to the next level with the Coffee Break Club. Now, as the ticker below says, and as our timings say, we've got to move on to German now. So I'll still have more examples. I'll still be talking about different aspects of the club in between the videos. So do stick around. But for now, let's focus on our German examples. And for German, as with French, we've got lots of different types of videos. I'll just run through these again so that you have all the details. We have reading challenges. We've got our Wo bin ich heute? So where am I today? Guessing games. We've got our SIP videos. That stands for Study, Investigation and Practice. So these are grammar focused. We've got a coffee break with. We've got a coffee break in der Sonne, where again, we're looking at interesting verbal constructions. We have our translation challenges. We've got dictation videos. We've got our discovery videos, discovering something about the world. We have vocabulary videos, walk, talk and learn, and also our verb lab and our step-by-step videos, which again I can show you if we jump over to my iPad here. There's Thomas, a Schritt für Schritt, one of our step-by-step videos. But if we move down to our German collection here and go into this, we can see all of the German videos. And again, it's possible to search within the videos or filter by the presenters. We can filter by length. If you've just got 5 minutes, let's take a look at those. And there are our 5-minute videos that pop up there. And also you can specifically look for different videos. So for example, if you wanted to do some dictation in German, then you see all the dictation videos there. If I just reset the filters now, you can see the whole collection of German videos from our German tutors. So we're going to look at a German example now. Let me take a look at the list here as to what we have. We're going to start with, I believe, a translation challenge from Oliveira. And in this one, we're going to be translating phrases from English into German. So try to do this. Feel free to post your answers in the chat. Perhaps just before we get there, I noticed we've got a question from Jennifer. Jennifer's asking, if you join the club, can you access more than one language? Absolutely. The club is in French, Italian, German, and Spanish, so you can practice all 4 languages if you're learning all 4, just with one subscription. So hopefully that answers your question, Jennifer. Okay, we're going to take a look at this German video now. Over to Oliveira for some German translation practice. If you've just joined us, we're doing a little bit of French, a little bit of German, a little bit of Italian, and a little bit of Spanish. So after the German, we'll move on to Italian. But here's Oliveira.
Hallo und willkommen zum Club. Welcome to the club. Ich bin Oliveira und heute übersetzen wir zusammen. We'll be translating sentences from English to German. And here we've got a great focus on verbs with the dative and the accusative case. So you'll have 10 seconds to translate each sentence, but as always, you can always pause the video if you need a little longer. Now, if you're ready, grab a pen and some paper und dann fangen wir an. Los geht's! Okay, unser erster Satz, our first sentence is, Lea invites her sister, the neighbors, and her best friend to dinner. Now, how would you say this in German? You'll get 10 seconds starting now. Okay, und die Zeit ist rum. Time's up. So in German, we would say, Lea lädt ihre Schwester, die Nachbarn und ihren besten Freund zum Abendessen ein. Now, that's a long sentence. Let's look at that in greater detail. So the first thing to look at is the verb einladen, because that one's a separable verb. So here we have the first part of that verb, lädt, which is the conjugated verb itself at the start, and then the prefix at the very end of the sentence, because we've got lots of other information in between there. So we have Lea lädt, other information, at the very end, ein. So, Lea lädt ihre Schwester, so her sister. Here the possessive takes the feminine ending because it's die Schwester. Then die Nachbarn, the neighbors. Und ihren besten Freund. Because we're here in the accusative case, we can see the en ending for masculine nouns. So it's der beste Freund turns into ihren besten Freund. And then zum Abendessen in the dative, to dinner, because we're using zu and that takes the dative, zum Abendessen ein. Another way to say this is if the friend is female, we would say Lea lädt ihre Schwester, die Nachbarn und ihre beste Freundin zum Abendessen ein. So that's just a difference between der Freund und die Freundin. Alles klar, let's take a look at another sentence. I already asked him, but he hasn't replied to me yet. Now we'll be using both the dative and the accusative case in here. So try to translate this into German. You'll get 10 seconds starting now. Okay, die Zeit ist rum. Let's take a look at this sentence in German. Ich habe ihn schon gefragt, aber er hat mir noch nicht geantwortet. So here we're using the accusative for fragen. Ich habe ihn schon gefragt. So ihn means him with the accusative case. I already asked him. Ich habe ihn schon gefragt. Here also with the perfect tense to talk about the past. Haben is our auxiliary verb, and we're using gefragt, just the past form, the perfect form of fragen. So it's habe gefragt. And then the second part of the sentence is aber but he, hat mir noch nicht geantwortet, hasn't replied to me yet. And here we're using mir because that's the dative form of ich. So we're using the dative with antworten. This is quite tricky to remember sometimes, but just note that fragen goes with the accusative and antworten, to reply, goes with the dative. So he hasn't replied to me yet. Hat mir noch nicht geantwortet. Sehr gut. Let's take a look at another sentence. Sabine helps her mother clean the kitchen. How would you say this in German? Du hast 10 Sekunden. Los geht's. Okay, und die Zeit ist rum. So in German, we could say, Sabine hilft ihrer Mutter, die Küche zu putzen. Here again, we're using the dative case because helfen, to help, takes the dative. So die Mutter or ihre Mutter, which is feminine, in the dative case turns into ihre Mutter. So we have the er ending here in the dative case for a feminine noun. So Sabine hilft ihrer Mutter, helps her mother. And then in the second part of the sentence, we have a zu construction that we often use when we have verbs that require some sort of to in English. So we could also say Sabine helps her mother to clean the kitchen. So Sabine hilft ihrer Mutter, and then the comma, which is very important with the zu construction. Die Küche, the kitchen, to clean, zu putzen. Alles klar, let's take a look at one final sentence and translate that together. I think the red scarf belongs to the waitress. One way to say this in German would be, ich glaube, der rote Schal gehört der Kellnerin. So here with gehören, we're using again the dative case, and that's why die Kellnerin turns into gehört der Kellnerin. Another way to say this would be by using a das sentence. So, ich glaube, dass der rote Schal der Kellnerin gehört. Again, here with the dative case, the only difference is that the verb, the conjugated verb gehört, goes to the very end of the sentence because of das. Okay, und das war's auch schon für heute. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope that you enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out lots of other content like this in the Coffee Break German Club. Ich wünsche euch happy coffee breaking!
So, how did you get on with that translation challenge with Oliveira? I think one of my favourite things about the Coffee Break Club is that every single time I watch these videos, and I see lots of these videos obviously, but every time I watch something, I learn something new. Even in languages that I'm quite familiar with, I still learn something new, and that's the whole idea behind it. It's possible to learn little things on a regular basis, and that is a key element. I think there's something a little bit wrong with my camera, so I'm just going to try something for a moment. I'm not quite sure what's going on. Okay. I think I'm back. Apologies for that. I wasn't quite sure what was going on, but I think I'm back and I think it's okay now. I do apologise. When we're doing lives like this, it is sometimes a little difficult to know exactly what the problem is, but I think we're good. I think we're good. Let's cross our fingers. So we're talking about German examples at the moment, and we're going to be moving on to Italian in just a moment. But before we do, I want to share a question from Kai Noart. Apologies if I've mispronounced that. Re-monthly cost and the special offer. If I choose the monthly offer at the sale price, does the subscription continue at the reduced rate, or is the reduced rate only for 1 month? So that is a great question, and I'm pleased to confirm that the subscription stays at the sale price. So you lock that price in when you when you buy during the sale. So this is the 25% off. Or the 15% off, you are locking that in if you buy at the moment, whether that's the yearly subscription or the monthly subscription. The yearly subscription 25% off and the monthly subscription 15% off. So those prices are locked in. That was a very long-winded answer to your question, so apologies for that. But I'm doing a lot of things here trying to make sure that everything is working. I think we're good. Okay, let's look at another quick video. We are going to do a quick video in German before moving on to Italian. So let's take a quick look. I might stop this a little bit early, but let's watch a coffee break with Thomas now.
Hallo, mein Name ist Thomas und herzlich willkommen zu Coffee Break German und meiner kleinen Plauderecke. This morning I was talking to Katrina and we were discussing the specific meaning of a German verb that I would say is not very, very common. And when we are finished, I actually thought this might also be really interesting to you. So I came in here, switched on the camera and sat down. And if you're ready, I will teach you a little bit about one specific German verb today. Also, bist du bereit? Los geht's! Today, I want to talk about the verb grübeln. Grübeln. And it means as much as to brood, to chew something over, to ponder maybe as well. So the idea of intensely thinking about something again and again, but not really coming to a solution. So it's not really a productive thinking process. Therefore, it's sometimes used in a quite a negative context, because you keep thinking about it and it's maybe like something that worries you or like a specific problem, and it really is bothering you to the extent you can't stop thinking about it. So to give you an example, you might hear the sentence, grübelt schon seit Tagen, aber findet keine Lösung. So he's been thinking about that since for days, or he's been brooding for days, but he's not finding a solution. Okay, so we have grübelt schon seit Tagen. A different sentence where it's less negative and more the idea of just thinking about something would be, wir grübeln oft über dieselben Themen. So we're thinking about, or even we're often pondering about the same topics. And in this sentence also you see that it's grübeln über. So when you're thinking about something, grübeln is used with the preposition über. Okay? Another, when it's even more negative, or you're really obsessed with thinking and going back to that idea or that thought, somebody might actually tell you, hör auf, über deine Arbeit zu grübeln und genieß den Abend. So he's saying, stop brooding over your work or thinking about your work and enjoy the evening. So dieses hör auf zu grübeln. Stop thinking about it. Okay? So, das war's. So we wanted to share this little German verb with you, grübeln, which means to ponder, to brood or to chew something over. Vielen, vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und ich hoffe, es hat dir gefallen und auch Spaß gemacht. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Mein Name ist Thomas und Happy Coffee Breaking!
So I did indeed learn something there about grübeln. Thank you, Thomas. Okay, it is time to move on. Just another couple of comments. One from John. The explanations of concepts, grammar points, and presentation by teachers are excellent and very pleasantly put across. All presenters are friendly and know their stuff. Well, we are very pleased that that is what John feels, and hopefully you will feel this as well. One other thing to mention is that we've put together a brochure about the club, and we have made this very easily downloadable. In fact, I'm going to put a QR code on the screen that you can download this brochure. It explains everything about the club. It goes through in detail all the different types of videos that we have in the club. You've seen these mentioned, the postcard videos, our discovery videos, our translation challenges, and so on. So the brochure explains all that. It provides lots of additional information. And if you would like to find out more, then simply scan that code and you'll be able to download the brochure to your device. The brochure is also linked to at our main page for the Coffee Break Club. So I think if I can put this one up here, you can get more info up here. There, I'm very good at this, but yeah, click there and you'll be able to, or not click there, but scan there and you'll be able to access our landing page. And I think maybe the team can also put the landing page in the chat. It is already in the description of this video. Okay, we'll come back to that. I'll put these back up on the screen a little later, but what we're going to do now is move to, actually I'll skip the pricing just now. We've talked already about the pricing. So we're going to move to Italian just now. There we go, Italian. And guess what? We've got all these different types of videos in Italian too. So we've got our translation challenges, our reading challenges, our SIP videos, study, investigation, practice. We've got our coffee break with different members of the Italian team. We've got coffee break al sole. We have our dictations, our discovery videos, our verb labs, step by step, all of the complete collection of different types of lessons for Italian too. And I think the best idea would be to go straight in and watch one of these now. Let's do a translation challenge. I think this one is with Michela. So we're going to be looking at some Italian samples over the next 10 minutes or so. And we're going to start with a translation challenge from Michela. Let us take a look.
Ciao and welcome to the Coffee Break Italian Club. Io sono Michela e oggi facciamo un po' di traduzione. We're going to translate some sentences from English into Italian. The topic of today's translation challenge is passato prossimo with the auxiliary verb essere. One thing to keep in mind about this is that if the auxiliary verb of the passato prossimo is essere, then the past participle must agree in gender and number with the subject it refers to. Okay, as always, for each sentence you will have 10 seconds, ma non preoccupatevi. You can pause the video for as long as you need. Okay, if you're ready, feel free to grab a pen and paper or open your notes app on your device and let's get started. Iniziamo! Did your holidays go well? Did your holidays go well? 10 secondi a partire da ora. Allora, la traduzione è: sono andate bene le tue vacanze? We translated your holidays as le tue vacanze, which is feminine plural. We then translated the verb to go well as andare bene. The passato prossimo of andare bene is sono andate bene, with the auxiliary essere. Notice how we used andate instead of andato because it agrees with the feminine plural word vacanze. So, the final sentence is sono andate bene le tue vacanze? We could also start the sentence with the subject and say le tue vacanze sono andate bene? Keep in mind that you still need the feminine plural agreement even when changing the order. Andiamo avanti con la seconda frase. How many people came to yesterday's event? How many people came to yesterday's event? 10 secondi a partire da ora. Ok, la traduzione è quante persone sono venute all'evento di ieri? How many people is quante persone. Notice how quante agrees with the feminine plural word persone. The verb to come is venire, which becomes sono venute in the passato prossimo. Again, notice the agreement of sono venute instead of venuto because of the agreement with persone. And lastly, to yesterday's event is all'evento di ieri. We need the preposition al plus an apostrophe, which is the combination of a più il. So to the evento di ieri is literally the event of yesterday. And we need al plus the apostrophe because evento starts with a vowel. Okay, so the final sentence is quante persone sono venute all'evento di ieri. Let's go on with our third sentence now. The concerts have been postponed due to bad weather. Again, pay attention to the agreement of the past participle. 10 secondi a partire da ora. Ok, possiamo dire i concerti sono stati rimandati per maltempo. So, to be postponed is essere rimandato. The passato prossimo of essere rimandato is è stato rimandato. Now, because the concert is masculine plural, we need our past participle to be in its masculine plural form. So, è stato rimandato becomes sono stati rimandati. Then, due to bad weather, can be translated in different ways. We can say per maltempo, per il maltempo, or a causa del cattivo tempo. Okay, on to our final sentence, la nostra quarta e ultima frase. Careful, Sarah, your bag fell. Careful, Sarah, your bag fell. 10 secondi a partire da ora. Ok, una possibile traduzione è attenta Sara, la tua borsa è caduta. Attenta Sara, la tua borsa è caduta. So, careful is attento or attenta in this case. Your bag is translated as la tua borsa, which is feminine singular. The verb to fall is cadere. So the passato prossimo is è caduta, because it agrees with la tua borsa. Okay, so the final sentence is attenta Sara, la tua borsa è caduta. Okay, benissimo. Well done for today and thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed translating these sentences on the passato prossimo. Io sono Michela e ci vediamo nel prossimo video di Coffee Break Italian Club. Nel frattempo, happy coffee breaking!
Grazie, Michela. Thank you to Michela. Now, this is an example of one of our translation challenge videos. And as you can see from the complete selection here on the screen, we've got lots of different types of videos. And this goes for all 4 languages in the club. One club subscription allows you access to French, Italian, German, and Spanish videos at all levels. So from A2, upper beginners, to B2 level, upper intermediate. So we've got videos at different levels within there, and you can use all the videos. You can watch a video a day, or you can do as many videos as you want. Let me just move on here to another comment from Anne. Anne says, I love the daily reminders that come by email. I can almost always fit them into my day. As someone who has As someone who has little exposure to the spoken language, I find these daily refreshers are a great way of maintaining my skills. So talking of that daily reminder, we actually have an email that goes out every single day with a suggestion of a lesson in it. So you get your email, you tap on the lesson, and you're learning immediately. And many of our club members love this way of learning. And that also will help you keep your streak. So if you have a streak on the Coffee Break Club, it means that you're following a lesson every day, you're keeping up the streak, and you can do any lesson that you like. It doesn't need to be the one that we suggest. But lots of our learners love keeping the streak and making sure they're doing a little bit of learning every day. It's very similar to a Duolingo streak. I'm sure many of you use Duolingo. I think I'm on day 1,535 today, I think. But I also have a streak on the Coffee Break Club because I have been doing daily videos for many, many months now. And I know that many of you are doing the same. And we also have badges if you get, for example, 3 days in a row, 7 days in a row, 15 days in a row. And some people are even on 150 days in a row. And we're very proud of our club members who are keeping their streak and doing their daily learning. Let's look at another quick Italian video. This is a walk, talk and learn, where we walk around the streets, we talk about the language we see around us, and we all learn something together. So I will have a look at this, and then we'll move on to Spanish after that. Let's take a look. Salve e bentornati ad un'altra puntata di Walk, Talk and Learn. This is a series where we walk around the town, we talk about what we see, and of course we all learn something. Now, in this episode, we're going back to that si passivante. You may remember a previous episode in which we talked about the passive si. Let's take a look at the sign that I've found today. Si vendono lotti edificabili. Okay, si vendono lotti edificabili. So basically this means building lots are being sold. So let's think about the verb here. It's vendono, which is a plural form of the verb. And why is it plural? Because these lots, lotti, are being sold. Let's go back to the studio to find out about more examples of this si passivante. Torniamo in studio.
Ciao Mark. Yes, that's right. This is another si passivante. The si passivante is basically an alternative to the normal passive voice. But to understand this better, let's look at this sentence starting from the active voice, which means who does what. In this case, we could say vendiamo lotti edificabili. We sell building lots, and we works like a general subject, a generic subject. Then the standard passive voice for this sentence would be lotti edificabili sono venduti. Building lots are sold or are being sold. We could also add da noi, by us, although this is not really important because the idea of the passive voice is to put the focus on what is being sold, the lotti edificabili, and it doesn't matter who is performing this action. And that's why we tend to use the si passivante in cases like this, and we simply say si vendono lotti edificabili. The si passivante, in fact, does not include the person who performs the action and gives all the focus to the thing that is being done. In this case, as we said, the building lots being sold. The interesting thing about the si passivante is the fact that the verb appears in the active form, vendono, in this case, agreeing with the subject, I lotti edificabili, and it's preceded by si. There is no reference whatsoever to the person who is performing the action. And this is typical of generic actions being described, and it's often used to inform. There is a singular alternative to this type of si passivante, and we could say si vende un lotto edificabile, which means a building lot is being sold. Let's see some other example. We could say, for example, si accettano pagamenti in contanti, something that you're likely to see when you travel in Italy. So payments in cash are being accepted or are accepted. Or if you're lucky, si fanno sconti. Discounts are being made or discounts are made. And finally, if you go to a restaurant, for example, non si effettua servizio al tavolo. Table service is not being made or is not possible. A final thing to remember, it's very common to find the si coming after the verb and attached to it when we see official signs. For example, the sentence we have just described at the start could be also written on an official sign as vendonsi lotti edificabili, or the singular alternative vendesi lotto edificabile. This is just a more formal or official alternative to the si passivante. I hope this was interesting, Mark, and now over to you.
Grazie, Francesca. There you have it. By now, I think you will be a master at the si passivante. There's a busker here that's taking over, so I'll finish now. Grazie mille e alla prossima. Ciao ciao. Happy coffee breaking. Grazie, Francesca. Thank you. And we hope you've enjoyed this Walk, Talk and Learn episode. Now, we have we're just about to move on to our Spanish examples. But before we do, I see Catherine's got a question. So let's bring up Catherine's questions. Do you have courses for beginner to A2 so that you can be prepared for the Coffee Break Club subscription? Absolutely. Catherine, let us know in the comments which language you're learning. And the team will send you a specific link for our beginners course in that language. But yes, we have absolutely our beginners course that will take you up to an A2 level, ready to benefit from all of the club subscriptions. So just let us know in the comments or in the chats which language you're learning, or just get in touch with us. You can email team@coffeebreaklanguages.com. Okay, so let us just remove this and we will move on. Just to mention pricing, so the monthly pricing is normally those prices. We've taken 15% off those monthly prices at the moment. And there's also an annual option where you save 2 months. So you get 2 months free for the annual option. And again, this time there's 25% off the annual pricing. So it's a great time to subscribe to the club. And I would also like to thank some of our new subscribers who have just joined us during this session. So we can say thank you to Denise and Sally and Diane and Ashley and Jennifer. Thank you very much for joining the Coffee Break Club. Okay, I promised that we would move on to Spanish. So let's look at some Spanish examples. And again, if you have any discussions, any questions rather, in the about the Coffee Break Club, then just post them in the chat. Archimage is saying, is there an annual subscription? Yes, absolutely. We have just shared information about that. And if you want to go ahead and find out more, you can click this thing up here. Well, not click it, but you can certainly scan it and get taken straight there. And there is a link in the chat as well and in the description of this video. So depending on how you're watching, that's probably the easiest way to get there. So let's look at a Spanish example. Our example in Spanish is another Walk, Talk and Learn. So we're going to, in fact, let's break up. We're going to not do the Walk, Talk and Learn first. We'll do our other example. And this is a dictation challenge. So if you're a Spanish learner, then make sure you've got something to write with, or just write. In fact, you can write it in the chat. Why not? This is a dictation challenge from Pablo. Let's take a look.
Hola, soy Pablo y te doy la bienvenida a The Club. El siguiente video is a dictation practice, and all you need to do is to write down the sentence as you hear them. You'll hear each sentence 2 veces, and then you will have 10 segundos after to check what you have written. Hoy, we are going to focus on one of the trickiest sounds of Spanish, the sound, and its different spellings. Yo estoy listo. ¿Y tú? Pues vamos allá. Frase número 1. Recogí mi habitación para jugar a un videojuego. I'll say it one more time. Recogí mi habitación para jugar a un videojuego. 10 segundos. Se acabó el tiempo. Muy bien. Recogí mi habitación para jugar a un videojuego. The translation is, I tidied my bedroom to play a video game. Couple of things to have a look at here, so let's go to the very beginning. Recogí, so that's the predicate of the verb recoger, okay? And it's spelled with a G, and also notice that the I at the very end has an accent, and that's important because that's telling us the tense that it is. The next word, habitación, we have that word spelled with an H that doesn't really sound because the H is soundless, and then at the end, the O has an accent. Perfecto. Jugar, here you can see the contrast between the different sounds. So the first is spelled with a J and then a G. Okay? And then videojuego, as you may have noticed, in Spanish we write it together as opposed to in English that you write it separately. Muy bien. Vamos a por la siguiente frase. Frase número 2. Germán guarda jerseys viejos para regalarlos a la gente. Una vez más. Germán guarda jerseys viejos para regalarlos a la gente. 10 segundos, por favor. Tiempo. Muy bien. Veamos la traducción de Germán guarda jerseys viejos para regalarlos a la gente. The translation is Germán saves old jumpers or sweaters to give them to people. Okay, let's go word by word. First word, Germán, and it's a very Spanish common name for a male, okay? And please don't forget the accent above the letter A. Then moving on, we have guarda, from guardar, which is spelled with a G. And then we have a word that you may recognize, jerseys, which is obviously a borrowing from English, and it's spelled with a J, and it has an accent on the letter E at the very end, okay? Moving on, we have viejos, that G sound, okay, so with a J. And then we have regalarlos. Notice regalarlos, los, the direct object is attached directly into the infinitive. And the last word, gente, which is also spelled with G. Muy bien, vamos a la siguiente frase. Frase número 3. La jirafa y el gorila se giraron para perseguir al guía hasta la jaula. I'll say it one more time. La jirafa y el gorila se giraron para perseguir al guía hasta la jaula. 10 segundos, por favor. Tiempo. Muy bien, veamos. La jirafa y el gorila se giraron para perseguir al guía hasta la jaula. The giraffe and the gorilla turned to chase the guide up to the cage. Couple of things going on here. First, jirafa in Spanish is spelled with a J and not with a G. Moving on, gorilla. So as you have noticed, it's only spelled with one L. Perfecto. We have then giraron, okay, which is spelled with a G. And interesting, this one, perseguir. So that doesn't sound like the previous sound, giraron. It sounds gir. So we need that U between the G and the I to make that sound gi, perseguir. Perfecto. And then we have guía, similar to the previous word, okay? Don't forget the accent above the I, okay? And then we have hasta with the soundless H, and finally, jaula with a letter J. Muy bien, perfecto. Y eso es todo por hoy. That's all for today. Espero que you have found today's dictation very, very useful. It wasn't easy, but I know you have done it just perfectly. Y espero verte muy, muy pronto. Adiós y happy coffee breaking.
Muchas gracias, Pablo. So that was a dictation challenge, and it's just one of many types of videos that we have on the Coffee Break Club. And the idea, of course, is that you do whatever kind of lesson you are in the mood for on a particular day. As I said earlier, we send out an email, which is optional, of course. You can opt out of that email, but we send out an email to our club subscribers every day with a suggested lesson, and that gives you an opportunity to decide whether you want to do that lesson or click on the main link for the club and do another lesson, whatever one you want. The other thing to mention is that we also have the opportunity for you to basically to choose whichever video that you want to do. You can make your own path and do the videos in whatever order you prefer. But there are so many videos in the club that you can basically plan your learning and do a little bit every day, and that way you can keep your streak and do some learning and move forward with your language learning. Okay, let's look at one more video. This is another Walk, Talk and Learn in Spanish this time. And we are going to be walking about the town, talking about the language we see around us, and of course we will all be learning something. So let's take a look at this video now. Hola y bienvenidos a otro episodio de Walk, Talk and Learn. Now today we're outside another bank, and I have a really interesting slogan for you. This is a bank which is actually merged with another bank, and we'll find out more about that within this advertising poster. It says, nos unimos para adaptarnos más rápido a lo que necesites. Okay, so let's think about this. Nos unimos. That's unirse, the reflexive verb, and it means to unite. It's come together, to basically merge. Nos unimos para adaptarnos, in order to adapt ourselves. Another reflexive verb, adaptarse, but here the se changes to nos because it's we, so to adapt ourselves, if you like. Más rápido, more quickly, a lo que necesites, to whatever you may need. Now you might be wondering where all that whatever you may need, because necesitar just means to need. But the difference here is it's not lo que necesitas, it's lo que necesites. And this is that special form of the verb again, the subjunctive. So let's go back to the studio to find out more about how this is used. Volvamos al estudio.
Muchas gracias por el ejemplo, Mark. This is a very interesting use of the subjunctive because in the same relative clause, we can use the indicative or the subjunctive and the meaning changes a little bit. Let's see this in a short example. And we start using the indicative. Le compran lo que le gusta. They buy him what he likes. Le compran, they buy him. And that lo que is our relative pronoun, and it is translated as what. After this relative pronoun, we are using the indicative in this case. Le gusta. He likes. So they buy him what he likes. And imagine that it's just a new pair of shoes. They buy him what he likes, that pair of shoes. This is important because now let's have a look at what happens if we change that le gusta for le guste. Le compran lo que le guste. Now we are using the subjunctive mode. And this means they buy him whatever he likes. So now it's not a specific thing. It's not a specific what, lo que. It's just anything, whatever he likes, they buy him that. So this is given by the subjunctive, okay? And here we are using lo que. That's our relative pronoun. But we can use a different relative pronoun.
let's have a look at that, and let's start this time using the subjunctive. Hoy eliges tú y comemos donde quieras. Today you choose and we eat wherever you want. Hoy eliges tú y comemos. Today you choose and we eat. Donde is our relative pronoun, and it's where. However, it is followed by the subjunctive form of the verb querer, quieras. So now it's not where you want, it's wherever you want. If you want to go to that restaurant, we go. If you want to stay at home, we do that. So it's wherever you want, we are doing that. That is given, remember, by the subjunctive. We can also use the indicative here, as we have seen. And now let's change the sentence a little bit more to give more context. The sentence this time is, por mí, hoy comemos donde quieres, en este restaurante. For me, today, we eat where you want, in this restaurant. For me is por mí. Today, we eat, hoy comemos. Where is donde. That's our relative pronoun, and it is followed this time by the indicative mood. Quieres. So this means that that where is known. Why? Because it's this restaurant. So now it's not wherever you want. It's that where you want that I know is this restaurant. Imagine that you have said that you want to eat in that restaurant over there, but I don't like it. Then I'm not agreeing to that one. I'm agreeing to this one, okay? In this restaurant, en este restaurante. Por mí, hoy comemos donde quieres, where you want, in this restaurant. Okay, let's have a look at another pair of examples. This time, can you guess the translation of this sentence in the subjunctive mood? The sentence is, quien tenga preguntas puede enviar un mensaje. Here, our relative pronoun is quien, and it is followed by the subjunctive tenga. This is from the verb tener. So, quien tenga preguntas puede enviar un mensaje. The meaning is, who has a question can send a message. But I don't know who has a question. That's why I'm asking just a group of people. Oh, who has a question? Just send me a message. I'm asking, so it's whoever. Whoever has a question can send me a message. Quien tenga. That whoever, that I don't know who has a question, that idea of a specific antecedent and a specific thing is given by the subjunctive. Quien tenga preguntas puede enviar un mensaje. Now, imagine that I know who has a question. Then I'm using the indicative mood. Alicia, quien tiene una pregunta, envía un mensaje. Alicia, who has a question, sends a message. So as I said, now I know. Now we know who has a question. It's Alicia. And that's why after quien, we are using the indicative mood instead of the subjunctive. Alicia, quien tiene una pregunta, envía un mensaje. Alicia, who has a question, who is the person who has a question, sends a message. So then in relative clauses, if we have a specific antecedent, then we are going to be using the indicative. And the translation of that pronoun is going to be what, which, when, who. However, if it's an specific antecedent, then we are using the subjunctive. And the translation is going to be whatever, whichever, whenever, whoever, etc. So that's all from me. And now back to you, Mark.
Gracias, Anabel. There you have it. So this is this use of necesites, a subjunctive referring to whatever you may need, because we don't know exactly what it is that you might need. So it's whatever you may need. This bank will be ready to provide that. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Walk, Talk and Learn. There will be more from us soon. For now, muchas gracias y hasta la próxima. Happy coffee breaking! I pressed the wrong button there, but I'm back. So hopefully that has given you some additional Spanish to think about. If that was a little higher than your level, because we're talking about subjunctives and so on, don't worry, there's lots of other content on the club, which is at a slightly lower level. We've got content for A2 learners, so upper beginners. B1 lower intermediate and B2 upper intermediate, and the content is all organized so you can find easily all of the upper intermediate content or the lower intermediate content, however it works for you, whatever level you want. And of course you've got access to it all anyway, so you can always watch a video and decide, is this the right level for me, or do I need to do a little more work before I reach that level? It's all there. You can use it in whatever way you want. So let us just look a little bit again at actually not the pricing. What I want to do is just answer a couple of questions, and also crucially put this up on the screen. So there, up here, that's where you should scan in order to get access to the page on our website, where everything about the Coffee Break Club is explained, and also the links to sign up for monthly or our annual subscription there on the website. If you have a question about it, please post it in the chat. I'm still going to be around for another 5-10 minutes or so, so I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. And if you have a question after the event, then just get in touch with us by emailing team@coffeebreaklanguages.com. We, again, will be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have about the Coffee Break Club. On the page on our website, I know you can't see this, but we do have an FAQ section, and the FAQ will answer questions like, what can you learn in the club, what level the lessons are. We've talked about this. I don't have much time. Will the club work for me? Of course, the club has been created for people who don't have much time to spend on their language learning. How long do I have access to the materials? Well, you can access the materials for the duration of your subscription. So if you're monthly, until the monthly payment ends, you can access the materials, but that monthly payment is automatically recurring until you cancel it. So as long as you keep paying, then you will be able to access the subscriptions. And likewise with their annual payment, you will be able to access for the whole year. And that's the year from today, not a calendar year. So a year from today, all the way until the 24th of August, well, the 23rd of August, 2026. And again, with those pricing options, it's about 38 pence or 50 cents a day to get access to all of the materials on the Coffee Break Club. And I should also say we're adding to that all the time. We're adding new lessons to the collection all the time and coming up with new ideas. We've already got a whole load of interesting ideas for future club videos, and these will all be added to the Coffee Break Club. One other thing that we do with the Coffee Break Club is post any YouTube videos that we're posting on YouTube early in the club, because it means that you get exclusive first access to any content that we're posting on YouTube, and that comes in the club. So just a few things to mention. Let me see if we can come back here. Our pricing monthly, those are the normal monthly prices, but those are discounted by 15% if you follow the link up here. And I'm going behind the link now. And we also have an annual option where you get 2 months free, and those are the normal prices. But again, there's 25% off those prices at the moment. So it's a really good time to subscribe to the Coffee Break Club right now, and you can get access to all of the content there by joining the club. Thank you for watching this. I hope it's been useful. Do remember that we've got a brochure that you can download. I don't know if I can jump to that particular... let me see if I can jump to it. I think it's about here. Nope, not here. There we go. So it's our brochure about the club. You can scan that code to access the brochure on your device. And that will explain everything. It gives you all the links. It explains all the different types of lessons that we have on the club. Let me see. We've got a question. Kaino Art is saying, I think there's a possibility of interacting with other learners. Is that true, or am I confusing this with something else? So within the club, what we often find is when learners post their comments on the videos, we always invite you to use the phrase or the particular verbal construction that we've been looking at. We invite you to use that in the comments, and it's always nice to see learners interacting with each other and giving thumbs up and liking your comments. So that's the kind of interaction that we have here within the club. So if that answers your question, hopefully, Kaino Art, that will answer the question. Okay, so you're mentioning the Over to You section. So we have a type of lesson called Over to You, where we're inviting you to post your own videos of you using a particular phrase or answering a question. So those are posted in our community area, and you can see other people's contributions there as well. But that's entirely optional. So I hope that answers your question now. Sorry, I misunderstood that. Okay, we're going to bring things to a close. It's been quite a long session today for an hour and a half. I hope that it's been useful. Thank you again to those of you who have signed up to join the club during the session. And I think just another couple came through just there. I've lost that now. Yeah, we can say thank you to Suzanne and Leslie who have just bought a subscription to the club. Thank you very much indeed. We'd love to help you take your language learning further with the Coffee Break Club, and it is the best time to do so just now during our back to school sale. We'll be sending out another email about this tomorrow. Of course, we also will send out the Monday email as ever, and we hope that you're looking forward to that and continuing to enjoy learning with Coffee Break. For now, I'll say thank you very much indeed. Muchísimas gracias. Grazie molte. Vielen Dank. Merci beaucoup. And as ever, happy coffee breaking.